If you've got a shirt sleeve and two pieces of fabric that you want to turn into a cuff, then you've come to the right place. The other day I was making a shirt, and to be honest with you, I really made a mess of attaching the cuffs. And so I don't screw this up again, I thought I'd make this video for you. But before we can make some stitches, we have to do some ironing. The secret of sewing anything neatly is basically to iron the crap out of it. I'm going to start by interfacing the outside of the cuff. You can also interface the inside, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Next comes ironing the seam allowances. So I'm going to make a mark 1 centimeter away from the edge and just draw a nice straight line. Now, the secret to super crisp cuffs is to iron them using a piece of paper. And don't be stingy on the steam, really crank up the heat and go for it. And you guessed it, we're going to be doing exactly the same on the outer cuff. Okay, so now we're going to sew our cuff together. The trick here is to perfectly align the folded edges, right sides together. But when we sew this, we're going to fold the inner cuff flat. So we're not going to sew over the folds. Then it's time to sew the cuff together along the 3 edges, starting and finishing with a back stitch over that fold and making sure that that bottom piece is flat. Now snip off the corners, getting as close to that stitch as you can, and turn it the right way around. Now, in an ideal world, you would iron this flat with a steamroller, but in extreme outdoor sewing, I don't have one of those. But I do have this wooden roller, which is about half as good. It's finally time to marry the wrong side of the sleeve to the inside cuff, the one that's not interfaced. And the secret here is to line up the edges of the plackets with the edge of the cuff, like so, and the same with the other side, and then clip the whole thing together. So the idea here is that we're going to be sewing that uninterfaced cuff side to the sleeve, just a hair into the seam line from where the fold is. Yeah, it's not super clear here, but that's what we're going to do. Enclose the raw edge of the sleeve in between the 2 cuff pieces and just fold everything inside, make it look nice and neat. I'll never say no to a bit more extra rolling. What's going to happen now is the folded edge of the outer cuff is going to be placed just over the stitch you sewed before, and you're going to top stitch the whole thing so that in theory the stitch goes through both the outer and inner cuffs and everything looks nice and neat. This is the theory. The practice is quite tricky and does take a bit of skill and patience. And that's it. If you were careful and skillful with the roller, you'll have yourself a nice, sharp,
crisp cuff.